session on design thinking in the eye of the hurricane. Thank you. Over to you, Fida.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, and you see the slides?
Yes.
Okay. Good. Okay, Assalamu alaikum. Welcome everyone. So today, quickly, I will take you into the eye of the hurricane. Before I take you into this crazy journal, I will first of all really introduce myself quickly. My name is Fida Nasser. I'm a designer, I'm an educator, and I'm a researcher. So 3 different fields it seems, but they all have one thing in common, and that to take you into a certain phase that you have to enter it, but going into that phase, you will find things that are amazing, interesting, discover things that you never discovered before. You go into a different level, but going through that, you will definitely get lost to an extent that you won't know which way is up, which way is down, where you're going, and how can you go out. So, and believe me, I went through that so many times. And since I went through it so many times, I've learned to an extent finally how to get out of it. And I'm sure everyone went through it in one way or another through our lifetime. And here I will be teaching you, or I will be sharing with you these skills.
There, Fida, I'm so sorry for the interruption, but I think there is a kind of a slight glitch with the microphone. It seems that something is touching your microphone and creating some noise. Okay. And also your sound is a little bit kind of coming from away. At first I thought it's just me, but it seems many other colleagues. So can you try now, please?
Okay, I took off the phone. So is it clear now?
Much better. Thank you so much.
So the first part, it was clear, or should I repeat it, or should I just continue? Just continue?
Yes, please. Just continue, please. Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so regardless of what we discussed now in our previous workshop, so just to quickly recap, when we're talking about creativity, there's a keynote that comes out, and that is the word to create. And we are made to create, regardless if you think that you are creative or not, but we are actually made to create. And that is for one reason. A clear reason is because we have the tools. We are made having these tools. Our sense of touch, our sense of smell, our sense of taste, eyes, all of this is a purpose, is tools for us to use. But tools in themselves are not enough. We need to use these tools for something. So, or on what exactly? And we have it, the medium, which is our world, the world around us, between the people, the animals, the different colors of the sky, the different sounds of the birds and the animals and the people talking, between the different aromas and tastes around us. All of these things are the medium that we use our tools in. But having the tools and having the medium is not enough. We need something else, something that will inspire us to actually go out and discover and explore and use these tools. And as our previous workshop about akhlaquna spoke, it's through our values, through our religion, through our faith. In Islam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned, and he said, وَتَفَكَّرُوا, which means to reflect. So we are required in our own religion, in our own values, to actually go out and reflect. Of course, we're not going to sit there and just stare at the sky and do nothing. The idea of reflecting is to think, to ponder about the things that are around us, the things that has created for us. What are they? How are they? Use our tools, our senses fully to actually indulge all these things within us. Another thing, so we have our tools, we have the medium, we have the inspiration, but still there's something missing. And again, from our previous workshop where we talked about SDGs, the reason, that final push that will truly push us to go out, to explore and discover and use our tools to make things to help with these goals, help our community, our world, our environment. So it is in our DNA to actually create. It's since we are babies. As soon as a baby comes out to the world, their eyes is moving around, they're following the light and then the sound. And as soon as they grow up and they were able to move about or grab the closest thing that they find in front of them, they will just stick it in their mouth. That's because it's our nature. We have these tools for a reason. So a baby, in a sense, wants to truly experience everything that is around him using all these senses. And as we developed, we started to discover more, and we started to create and make things. And usually the main reason why we wanted to make things is for our comfort, to make things easier for us, which is right thing, right? So from the creation of the wheel that help us move around from one part to another and carry things, to the creation of talabat. Okay, so in the process of growing, this world has grown, people have increased, things have been developed, and very quickly we started changing. We started creating things mainly for our amusement. So ads started popping up all over the place, and mainly just for us to go buy, from designer shoes to things to stuff our face with. And basically making us focus on one thing, and that is our desires. So from car ads to shoes ads to Kit Kat shaped chair ads to iPhones to Coca-Cola and Gucci and McDonald's, all these ads have been popping up. If I'm sitting in the office or just going out to the park for a stroll, these ads are all over us. Let's face it, it's strong. As simple as it is, it's strong. Let's be honest here. Who did not, even for a second, thought that, oh, a Kit Kat sounds very nice idea to have right now, or maybe I'll have a Big Mac for lunch? That's how strong design is. Design is powerful. And in the book, Richard Ferson mentioned, design can transform the world. It can put the right out in the out is wrong, and fix what's wrong in the communities. It can address society's most incredible ills. Design could make a whooping impact on deep-rooted dilemmas, from poverty to the miserable state of the American education system to the failure of the criminal justice. It could do nothing short of move mountains. And that's the truth. With great power comes great responsibility. So what is our responsibility? What is the power that we have? Again, it's the responsibilities. Since we have the tools, since we have the mediums, since we have the problems, and then we have our values, our faith, this is where our power comes in. And this is where the faith and this is where our responsibility comes in. We are given all these things for a reason, and one reason only, and for us to move, to create, to solve. So we understand that I need to discover and I need to create, and I understand the power of design to move mountains. And we know our tools, medium, inspiration, and need. So all we need to do now is create, right? But how? So again, we go back to our tools. So our sense of eyes, just look at the thing in front of you. The first thing that your eye comes on, look at it. Just look at the light, how it hits that object. Look at see how it smells. Indulge, see the taste. Does it taste anything? How about the touch? Is there a texture? Does it feel a certain way? Does it make a certain sound? If your eyes were closed and it made a certain sound, will you be able to recognize what object this is? Think about it, reflect on it. Doing so, it will take us from something so rigid, so dry, of trying to brainstorm an idea and finally getting out an idea, but the idea is kind of regular or common, or yes, it might be functional, but it's not that unique thing that I was looking for to something like this. Look at that expression. When was the last time you felt or had that expression in your face? Something like this just shows that it is our nature to actually go and indulge and use all my senses into something, into the sense of discovering. So we need to jump in and get messy. We have our tools, we have our medium, we have our inspiration. We need to feel, look, hear, taste. We need to go in depth and truly experience the object. Then and only then can we get out ideas that are truly unique and strong and effective. We cannot get a unique idea and a strong, effective idea by sitting down and just brainstorming and just pinpointing the things. We need to look at things in a different angle. Just get up. As mentioned from the previous workshop, when you're doing something unexpected, something that you don't usually do, or if you let yourself go, like you're doing an exercise, or you are resting or washing your dishes, something that just makes your brain kind of go relaxed, ideas come out. So we start thinking of things in a different angle. We think about, how can I represent the flow of water, for example? How can I represent the cold? Or how can I show a feeling like love from an object or from a color? These things, we start thinking about it. The thing is, yes, we all agree it's in our nature. We are made for this. But of course, through time, we have forgot. But kids did not. Kids, at least maybe at this time, not as strong as before, unfortunately, with all the media and the electronics and the school systems, but they still have that nature in them. So back when I was working with kids, I gave them a project where I just gave them a regular A4 piece of paper, and then I had shapes like triangles, circles, and rectangles, and I gave it to them and I told them, make a picture out of this. So lots of kids started, moving the shapes around, sticking it on the paper and making something out of it. This girl thought like, why should these shapes be within the A4 page? What will happen if I let them go out the page? And she did it. In the end, she did fulfill the objective, which is make something out of these shapes. And she did. And what she got, as she called it, my porcupine dinosaur clown. The other one, we were just working on painting and just painting with the brush and doing any pictures we want and so on. This one, she thought, why should I just use the brush the regular way that we know? What happens if I start flickering it with my finger? What happens to the paint? She cannot control these flats that come in, but the outcome was very interesting. Another one, she decided to look outside, find things like leaves, flowers, and whatnot. And she said, I will look at these details and try to draw them using different colors, looking at the different features within these elements. And lastly, and this was the simplest project, which is just a piece of paper and just draw something that you like. But she thought, why should it be just an two-dimensional picture? Why can it be something interactive? Why can I have a picture where I can interactive and find different levels, or I can have like a book, but a book that kind of opens in two ways? They all fulfilled the objectives of the project, but they went beyond by discovering. They did not have a plan, but within the beginning of their project, they started discovering, and this is what they ended, something unique and different. So, okay, so now I am planning to have an idea. So I start having my sticky notes, trying to put on some ideas, things that I like, anything that comes into my mind, I just write them down. Then maybe I sketch some pictures on a piece of paper, or I play with the texture of paper and see how that works, how can that help in the project. And then maybe I will add some color, mix and match the colors together, see how that would look, and then maybe I will try to bring different kind of papers, stick them together, cut them out, and maybe I can make a pattern that looks really nice. But things now got really hectic and I'm kind of lost in the hurricane. Whatever I'm making is very interesting and I'm really indulged in it and I'm loving everything that's happening, but I don't know where I'm going anymore. I don't know how to make this an idea. We forget that to design something or to create something, we think that it's just a linear line where there's a start and there's an end. So I start with the idea, I end up with something unique and different and a product. But it's not. There is that middle part where that's crazy process that goes around. And we have to go into it to be able to have this unique, interesting product in the end. But that middle part is very tricky. If you go into it, it's so easy to lose yourself into it and you don't know how to get out of it. So what will help us to go through this process without truly getting lost? Okay, and that is the design process. So design process has 6 points. So we have the emphasize, define, ideate, prototype, test, and implement. So we need to emphasize the problem or the people who are dealing with this issue, define it, know what is their situation, what is exactly the problem that they are facing, and what is the needs that they have. Start planning out ideas, ideate, thinking of different ideas that might help. Now and take this idea and prototype, make an object or something that roughly represent what the idea is, and then I would test it and bring it to those people and see how they interact into it and do they think it's helpful or not. And if it works, then I just implement it. I actually make the final product and I give it out and use it. Of course, it's not linear. We go back and forth in every step, but then just to define this process simpler, we divide it into 3 parts: to understand, to explore, and to materialize. So to understand, we need to understand the problem and the people and know their concerns and needs. And then the middle part, which is to explore. And then the last part is to materialize, to actually get this idea into an actual product, an actual tangible thing that I can have. But our most focus here and the most important thing, to go from 1 to 3, I need to go into 2 and really indulge in this step. But how can I go through this stage without getting lost? Back in uni, my professor told me, when you step into the hurricane, make sure you stand in the eye of the hurricane. That just puzzled me. Because for one, I always got lost in the process, always, and I really struggled to get out. And then this professor comes to me, and instead of him telling me, don't go into the hurricane and just do your work, he actually, in an indirect way, is actually encouraging me to go into the hurricane, but he's telling me stay in the eye of the hurricane. I never really got it. And there was a lot of tension and through this process. But I had to step back a little bit and think. So let's go scientific here. So what is a hurricane? If you look at this diagram, the hurricane has 3 layers. So there's the outer layer, which is where the strong winds are. So it becomes light in the outside, and then it becomes more and more and more and more, where it reaches the red part, which is a really strong wind. And that's like the most danger zone, you can say. And then in the middle, that is where the light wind is. And that is where the peace, or the piece of where the hurricane is, that's what we call the eye of the hurricane. So if you're standing in the middle there, nothing happens to you, you are safe. But we also notice that part is small. So if you take one step forward or back, you will be stuck, you'll be dragged back into this hurricane and you lose it again. So to continue what my professor told me, he told me, when you are in the center of the hurricane, you can look at the things that are around you and pick and choose the things that you need. And I'm like, yes, that's exactly what I need. But professor, how can I do that? The winds around me are very strong. If I take one step, I will definitely get sucked into it. So the solution is that I need to be grounded. Okay, not grounded in a sense that you're not allowed to go out this weekend, but no, grounded in a sense that I need to ground my steps and have a firm position. So how do I do that? Through the design process. So, sorry. Okay. So, and these are 3 steps, 3 simple steps. And we talked about it in this workshop and the workshop before. And one is that I need to know the problem. I need to know the reason that is to solve this problem. So for example, let's say taking from the SDGs, taking from my values, taking from the tools that I have and everything. The problem is that the kids in a certain age, in a certain region, are not cannot read. So there's no education in that place. So what I need to do is to teach kids how to read. Okay, so who is it? It's for certain aged kids from, let's say, from 5 years old to 10 years old in so and so region. Okay, so how will I present it? In which form? So what do I need? Maybe I will need I want to make a board game that will help these kids teach themselves through this board game play, how to read. So now I know what is my problem, I know who is it for, and what is the product. So by knowing the problem, I know what topics I need to search and what things I need to reflect. I look at go into education, look at the books, look at the papers, the items that has to do anything with reading. And then who is it for kids? So since it's for kids, then I need to use things that attract kids. For example, colors. What kind of colors am I going to use? I'm not going to use black and gray. It's not very attractive to the kids. Kids need colors that are bright. So I only focus on these colors. Kids need something that involves some movement. So when I'm doing the board game, how can I make it in a way that involves their movement? And also, since I'm doing a board game, then there's some items that are required in a board game, like for example, the dice or some things that move around for them to go. So I already have a plan. So when I am in the eye of the hurricane, where I'm exploring these things, I know what to pick and choose and not to get too lost into that exploration. So again, I need to remind myself about my tools, all the senses that I was given. I need to use these tools and indulge in them, to truly indulge in them, like as we mentioned before, how a baby or a child indulge and really goes into these hearing things, touching it, tasting it, and truly focusing on these things. And look at the world around me. Truly be involved in everything that is around me, in my environment, around the people that I have, and so on. And of course, my values, my reflections that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told me, think, reflect, go there, experience, explore. And the SDGs are problems that we face. The last 2 sections where we talk about reflection and we're talking about the SDGs, they go hand in hand. We cannot do one without the other. Mainly, our reflection, our morals is what is you can say that our compass. So I can be a doctor and I can be an amazing doctor and I be a well-known doctor and I can just be giving people Panadol. So you're tired, you feel sick, here's a Panadol. And they're okay in the end, but eventually it will harm them. So if I had my morals, I understand my own religion and what Islam or my own values teach me, that we need to have the right morals, or the right the right ideas when I'm dealing with people and I actually work. When I'm a doctor, this is an amana. This is something that I have to give truly from the heart. Or I can be an architect, for example. I can build this most amazing architecture that anyone could ever imagine, and it has like twists and turns, things that are beyond physics, but it's not functional. So did it even help my community? Did it help people? It did not. So these two need to work together. Our values is the most important thing that basically inspired us to go and to stay on the right path. So within my religion, within my faith, I have to have my sorry, I have to have the problem. Okay. So quickly, just to summarize, so design is a plan of arranging elements in such a way as best to accomplish a particular purpose. Keyword here, purpose. So I cannot just go out and design and make things and just for the sake of it. It has to have a purpose. But what we are saying that we need to indulge to find the true purpose into these things. Quickly, I just want to do a really fast exercise. I want you to draw a wavy line. And then with this wavy line as a start, I want you to continue it and make it look like a watermelon. The second thing I want you to do is, again, wavy line and then draw anything. So what I'm saying is you start with a wavy line and then you finish it up as a picture of a watermelon. The other one, you start with a wavy line and then do whatever you want. The last one, I want you to draw a tool. Okay, so think of what a tool can be, something that I can hold or something that I can control. For older people, so now I know who is it for, to carry heavy objects. So I know what I need them to do with it. So the last thing, wavy line, and then make it into a tool that basically brings all these things together. So a tool to help older people carry heavy objects. Okay. And then if you're done sketching, I want you to, if it's okay, so show it on your camera. I'll give you, shouldn't take long, maybe like 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Okay, is anyone sharing? Anyone? Okay, is it a hard exercise or are you guys still working on it? Done. Okay, can you please share it on the video? So open your camera and we can see it maybe.
So whoever wants to show, please turn on your video and we will spotlight you and you can share it.
Also, while you're doing this, maybe if someone can also talk and share, how did they find it? Did they find it difficult? Is it, did they understand the difference? And also if anyone has a question from the previous points I mentioned as well. So we don't have like a quiet time here.
When we turn across the develop, this need to see reactions by the user. Let's
Okay, are you guys done?
Is there anyone, Suzanne? We got a kind of an unmuting from your side, but I was wondering if it was like an intervention or it was just by mistake. So if you want to share, please let us know so you can share.
Thank you, Dr. Evan. No, it was by mistake.
Okay, perfect. No worries, no worries. Anytime. So, yeah, Alina, back to you then.
Okay. I didn't see anyone sharing, so I don't know. No one wants to share, I can continue.
I can share if you'd like.
Yes, please.
Okay. Are you able to see the photo?
No, your camera is kind of like closed or it's blocked.
Oh.
Yeah,
Okay.
like
Okay, I will talk about it. I draw like a bag with wheels and
Okay.
a robot man.
Okay, good. Did you find it difficult to do so? Or did you, what difference did you find? Like, first of all, which one was the easiest? By drawing a watermelon, by drawing anything, or when we were very
Well,
specific?
okay, we had steps. So like since we had steps, so I was drawing the watermelon in the beginning. And then I was like, when you said draw anything, I was like, what should I draw? I thought about something to help older people. So I draw this robot, and then I came up with this idea that it's a bag with wheels.
Okay, nice, good. Okay, good. Since we're short on time, so maybe this is something that you can do, and if you like to share it after, you can send it to us. So quickly, just to conclude, is that we have tools, that we have our senses for a reason. We have this world for a reason. We have the problems that we face for a reason, and we have our inspiration also for a reason. It's all about going into these things and truly indulge and truly experience everything that we go through. Our values, our religion are just not something just to do and just to pray or just to be good people. It's actually what is guiding us through everything. To be an amazing architect, to be a helpful teacher or a helpful doctor, someone to really impact the world, I need my values, I need my religion. And if we go really in depth into our religion, we find all the guidelines through how to be a better teacher, how to be a better doctor, how to be a better human being in such a community, in such a world. So we need to indulge, we really need to jump in and just get messy. And remember the what am I doing? Who am I doing this for? And how am I doing this, or how am I presenting this for? Thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. If anyone has any questions, I'm here for you, and thank you.
Thank you so much for that. That was an incredible presentation. We really enjoyed it. Literally creativity at its peak. So guys, now we will be having our lunch break and prayer break. So you guys can go off for your lunch, have pray, and then we will resume back at 1 p.m. And after the lunch break, my colleague Bayan will be then continuing on with the emceeing. Thank you, everyone. See you.
Just a small reminder, afternoon session will be based on groups, and you'll be divided into 5 different breakout rooms. And the winning room will be awarded with a 5,000 riyal worth of a prize. And the second and third seaters will be also awarded training programs by Qatar Scientific Club, our primary partner and collaborator, and a generous, actually, young Qatari organization. And special thanks to Mr. Rashid and Rahimi and all the teams, all the collaborators. And please stay tuned. A short break. Please freshen up, and we'll be seeing you very soon.